It took me 5 years, only 5 years, to go from unfit video game nerd to being a world champion in parkour. How did that happen? That's about right. Ow. I still don't really understand, but this is what happened. In the beginning of our story, I said I'm a video game nerd. And what I mean is I had 2 monitors in my room, and in my free time, I would film Counter-Strike in real life videos with my cousin.
Bomb has been planted. Terrorists win.
I'm not fit. I want to tell you I couldn't even do a pull-up, but I don't know because I wasn't trying pull-ups. But this whole time, I know I want to do a sport. I just haven't found the right one yet. And that's when I stumble across... Now's the time to face your life! But in that video, they have an amazing gym, so I don't have that, so I didn't start. Then I find a video from Joe Ago, and I am enchanted. I watch it countless times, and I want to be able to do what he does so bad. But obviously, he has a gym, a coach, or a martial arts background, so do I start? No. Then it's the weekend and my dad takes me to the rental store and I pick out the DVD.
Yamakasi.
Oh my god, that's what I want to do, but it's a movie, it's not real life, they're probably stuntmen. And then the TV plays a 2-minute news piece about
Le parcours, c'est l'art du déplacement.
And for the first time, it explains to me that these are real people practicing it without a coach, without a gym, just out on the streets. Me and my friend tape it on VHS, watch it like 20 times, and then just go out and give it a go. Of course, I didn't know this fateful moment would lead to me becoming a world champion in parkour. How's that gonna happen? At this point of the story, it's the year 2005, and I'm 14 years old and terribly self-conscious. So my friend David and I decided to keep a new parkour hobby a secret, and we come to this office complex. Some abandoned like this one, some just with nobody around on the weekends, to try out a new hobby, and it was so fun. So fun, man! We had no idea what we were doing, but parkour had given us the permission to play again, so we were like, oh man, we can go through here, we can go over this. Can you balance down this guy all the way without falling off? We couldn't, but we tried.
What you're watching is my first parkour line ever. And in a time where there were no YouTube tutorials, it was actually not a problem. Because we all know how to do parkour as a kid. The key is to remember that feeling when you grow up.
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of material of those first 6 months, but we took a few photos and I was so proud of this jump I did over this flower bed that I uploaded it as my MSN profile picture, and I came out to the world that I'm a tracer, which we would call people who do parkour back then. It's kind of gotten out of fashion. The next years were mostly good. But there were also some unforeseen challenges and necessary setbacks. First, I find a parkour online forum, and there are some people in my city who also are starting this completely new discipline. We're all clueless, but we're all having fun, and just by having fun and doing a lot of parkour, I'm progressing a lot, and I'm enjoying it so much.
Eventually, I come across a list of all the parkour basics. So now I'm not just going out and playing randomly anymore, I actually have a structure and goals I can tick off one by one. So I get to work. Just from doing parkour, I can quickly feel my body getting stronger. I realized that I don't have to be fit to start parkour. I can become fit by doing parkour. Everything seems to be going great until one day I call my friend David and ask him, do you want to go out and do some parkour? And he says, no. I mean, I kind of could tell that he wasn't into it that much lately, but it was still hard to know I had lost my training buddy. On the weekends, I could meet with people in town, but Monday through Friday, I would have to practice by myself. Not many people know parkour, so you kind of feel like a strange person out jumping around on things, climbing on trees. It's also harder to stay motivated or push past your fears if you're all alone. I loved parkour, so I really had no choice. I watched a lot of parkour videos in that time to get myself in the mood, and in one of the documentaries, Seb Fukan says,
"This is why the repetition is very important."
Repetition, huh? So I get to work. It sounds silly for how simple it is, but every evening I sit down and I make a to-do list for tomorrow's training. And working through this list is what keeps me motivated, on track, and I progress faster than I ever had before. And after 5 days of disciplined training, Saturday was the day to go into town and test out my new skills with the community. I learned the double Kong towards the end of the season, and I can't believe it when I do this Kong to arm jump. Now that I know how to do the basic parkour moves, my goal is simple. I want to go big. Bigger drops, further jumps, higher wall runs, but smaller underbars. And of course, rooftops, rooftops, rooftops. When I grow up, I want to be French, so for breakfast I have a cigarette, and for the rest of the day all I eat is a croissant and a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon. Okay, that was made up, but you get the point. It's now that I start putting my single moves into longer runs, and I start thinking about how I can beautifully flow from one trick to the next. And I'm forever thankful for the local gymnastics coach who allows me to train by myself in a corner of their gym. Through parkour, I've built such a good awareness of my body and gotten a lot stronger, so learning flips and other acrobatics come quite easily. But of course, it's not without setbacks. For example, in this clip I'm doing a wall flip, but then next week I completely forgot how to do it, and it took me a long time to get it back. Everything is going great, and one day I'm out balancing on a rail by myself, and out of nowhere I slip. That year I learned an important lesson. The most dangerous thing in parkour is not a rail precision or a roof gap. The most dangerous thing in parkour is your ego. I knew my injury was not a freak accident. The reason I hurt myself balancing on a rail was because I felt like, as someone who's already doing roof gaps, balancing is easy. I don't need to pay attention. Would I have been focused, I would have not hurt myself. My body heals quick, but my mind is a different story. A lot of things that were easy to me before, I'm now terrified of. And that's especially true for any moves at height. So I decided to switch gears. And a big part of that was barefoot training. Instead of trying to go as big as possible as soon as possible, I now focus on quality of movement. I want to be able to move beautifully and have a soft touch to everything I do. This year something amazing happens. After 2.5 long years of training mostly by myself, I meet some local kids who are also into parkour.
Yeah.
Solo training had gotten me incredibly far, but right now was the perfect time to have somebody who would push me, and that's exactly what having a regular group of friends to go out with did. I graduate from doing simple flips to being able to do inward flips and twists.
Whoa, shit!
Which in a way means my acrobatics have caught up to my parkour skills, and I'm having a lot of fun combining the two. I feel like I'm finally ready for the pilgrimage. Muslims have Mecca, and parkour has the small town of Nice just outside of Paris. It's the birthplace of parkour, and therefore the videos recorded in Nice is what inspired my generation to start parkour. And of course, 3 years ago, those videos from Nice and the jumps in them seemed impossible and superhuman. And now I wanted to find out if all that training I had done the last 3 years was enough to maybe do some of those jumps myself. It feels like yesterday that I heard for the first time and imagined what it would feel like to be able to jump around like this. And all of a sudden, I'm living the dream. I had grown up through parkour and I learned how to be disciplined, but it also showed me how important it was to remain a child inside and be playful. From my injury, I had learned that even more important than a strong body is to have a strong mind. And what better way to test how strong your mind really is than by climbing the top of the Dame du Lac. This climb is technically so easy, the average person could do it without great difficulty. But climbing the narrow ledge with a death drop on either side is mentally so taxing that even seasoned parkour athletes often fail to make it to the top. I don't care who you are, but if you're standing on top of the Dame du Lac for the first time, you feel like you've made it. And if this was going to be the end of my parkour adventure, I could have died happily. But turns out, life had a surprise coming for me. Okay. This year I turn 18 and I'm finally an adult. I already can't imagine a better 18th birthday party when my friend Sergey hands me my birthday gift. Oh my god, the 7 Dragon Balls. With these new pants, I'm ready to film a video that would change my life forever. My plan is to level up my parkour skills in spring so I can film the best parkour video I've ever made in summer. I'm definitely watching way too much anime and martial arts movies because I train like a Shaolin monk. Sometimes I go out before school, other times I skip school, and at the very least I'm training 4 hours outside and then another 1 to 2 hours in the gym when it's available. I found the perfect balance of peaceful training by myself, focusing on the details, and strength training, and then also intense moments where I get to push myself. So summer comes and I start collecting clips for the big video I want to make. And everything comes together. I land my first double backflip, I double all the twists that I could only do a single twist before. And overall, I feel like I found my style of movement. I fall in love with creating these unique combinations of acrobatics and fundamental parkour moves into my own flowy combination. And I feel like I'm creating art of movement for the very first time. Once the video is done, I get featured on Urban Free Flow, which back then is the biggest YouTube channel in parkour. It's not like I was a big deal all of a sudden or anything, but I was recognized outside of my country for the very first time. And my timing could not have been any better.
Because of this video, I get an invitation
to the World Free Running Championships 2009, coming at you live from London's Trafalgar Square.
At first, I'm just excited that I'm gonna get to meet my heroes. But once I land in London, reality sets in. I'm not just gonna meet them, I'm gonna compete against them. I'm pretty good, but they're on another level.
That was amazing.
5 years he's been practicing free running.
With a 10-year gymnastics background. Oh, that's a new one. Castaway tunnel flip.
Terrorists win.
Let's be honest, starting with no athletic background, no gym, no idea what I'm doing, I've gotten quite far, but there's a limit to what I can achieve. I come to terms with the fact that I'll probably end up in last place, and that's fine. I remind myself that I never started parkour to compete against others anyway. The most important competition was always against myself. And as scary as it was, to go out in front of 8,000 people and to show my style of parkour that I had worked for so hard, that's something to be proud of no matter how I place.
Jason Paul from Germany, who is an amazing athlete. I think he's going to really crank it out. Here we go.
He is right now, so let's get back to the action.
One, two, three, 4 spins. And there's our leaderboard. A surprise to many that Jason Paul has made it into the final run, and he looks a touch nervous.
Of course I'm nervous. I never thought I'd make it into the finals, so I don't have a second run planned. Well, here goes nothing.
Some lovely fluid spins here. He's going to get marks from fluidity on that.
Oh, we've seen him do a number of spins and turns on the bars.
He just moves so naturally, it's unreal.
Very graceful.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, the wall spin's good. Not sure it's enough.
You're going to get something bigger. No, other side, someone's on there.
It's great movement, but I wonder, is there a big enough move, a big enough trick in there to impress our judges? Well, third place.
That is not bad at all.
And once again, that fluidity, that execution, that's given him massive points. 96 and 92 respectively.
Lowest points on his technical difficulty, like we said.
Third place, and I still get goosebumps to this day thinking about it. I'm invited to Sweden to an Art of Motion, a Red Bull competition the following week, and I'm thinking, well, I got third place, but I feel like I got lucky. But with the same strategy, I end up second place in Sweden. So when I get invited to another Art of Motion in Austria the following year, I'm thinking, ooh, I might have a chance to actually win one of these. I realize that the only thing that I'm missing is one big trick.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Now when it comes to big tricks, there are many to choose from. But I just needed one, and ideally a trick that nobody else was doing in competition yet, and that would play right into my skill set. And for me, that was the swing double gainer, and I managed to get it outside just in time for the big day.
Welcome to Red Bull Art of Motion 2010. What?
Can it ever just be easy? The only bar for me to do the swing double gainer is at the very bottom of the course, which means I'm going to be exhausted by the time I get to it. And to add insult to injury, it's ridiculously high and super bouncy, which is completely different to how I practiced my trick. My confidence drops, and the competition has clearly been preparing for today as well.
Jason! Go!
Should I go for an easier trick? Nah. I decide it's all or nothing. And as I flip my way through the course, all I think about is the double gainer. I just need to land this one trick and I'll be good.
And all of a sudden, I'm the world champion, just 5 years after starting parkour. And in many ways, this still feels like a dream. And as many of you know, this was kind of just the start of my parkour adventure, and I've been very fortunate for all the adventures, friends, and experiences I got to make along the way. Looking back, it scares me to think about how close I was to starting parkour again and again and again, and my doubts kept holding me back. So I want you to know it's never too late to start. And to make that first step a little bit easier, I'm on a mission to make learning parkour more fun, more enjoyable, and more accessible. Part of that is my beginner course that teaches you the fundamentals of parkour, and just like me, you don't need a gym or a coach or a local community to get going. So if you've been curious about starting parkour for a while and you're having some doubts, trust me, I know from experience, you don't know what your potential is. And the most fun, the biggest adventure is to go and find out where those limits actually are. So if you're ready for a new adventure, this is me calling you out and saying, let's go. The link to my course is down below, and I'll see you there. Let's get moving.